are you? How's your time at home? I'm here at the Tar River with one of my favorite books, looking at Spanish moss, leaves coming out. I thought maybe I'd like to share some things with you, and I thought it'd be fun for both of us. By the way, did you know this is the northernmost extent of the Spanish moss? We're going to see a lot of it today. We might even see some invasive species, and I'm going to show you a secret way to get to the shade garden. So let's go see some things. All right, so here we are on the Greenway. There's lots of people, and this actually used to be a road. So when Hurricane Floyd came along in 1999, all this flooded. All of those apartments, all of these apartments, there were more apartments like that all the way down. This live oak remained, but the fact that this was a road meant when FEMA bought it out that it became a greenway. So this was our second extension of the greenway, and Relief has planted trees on this greenway twice, and I'll show you some of those trees. So let's take a walk. So we'll walk up here, and I want to show you, we've repaired this bench and replaced this one. So we do some things on the greenway with frogs, the friends of Greenville Greenways. But I wanted to show you some things here. There's some markers that frogs have put up. And this is the story about biodiversity. So this talks about the biodiversity of amphibians, birds, trees, and we're going to do a section just on birds and migration. But this is very informative about the things where we are in a mesozone. We even have one of these in the lab, a Venus flytrap. Okay, that's it. That's where River Park North is over there. And I've actually seen beavers. And one time I saw a dolphin in the Tar River right here. And you know what? There's a secret way to get to the shade garden. So let's go find it. So we're right here, what used to be apartments, the Wilson Acres, and River Road, which is now the Greenway, the crepe myrtle tree. Look at this huge branch that we need to get down, shade garden. Look at the vines that are growing on these trees. Most of these are grapevines. One of the ways that you can find, actually this one's poison ivy. One of the ways you can figure out what's a grapevine, which is okay to touch, and what is a poison ivy vine is the poison ivy looks hairy like that. It has little rhizomes, and you sure don't want to touch that because that's a thorn. So we've done some cleanup here. This is a fairy ring of mushrooms right in here. It was really pretty about December, and it's not quite as dominant now, but it's still special, and you can see the leaves coming out. This one is a maple. So we're going to see the bridge that was rebuilt over the summer. And it was the house or the site of a house. And I'll show you the driveway and some of the walkways and the way to get down the river, some really great fishing places. Come on. So these are the paths through the shade garden. want to show you the dedication plaque. $5,000 was just spent last fall getting the shade garden up to this condition, and today it looks pretty good, even though there's nobody here. So I'll bet while we're here that some people will walk up. So this was the driveway to the house from River Road. You can see that it's just the width of a driveway. Only change has been right at the intersection to the greenway. This was where the house was, and this is the way that they went to the river. They had a private fishing spot, just like these guys are fishing. The people that lived here that were bought out after the Floyd had a little patio right here on the river. So on days like today, it must have been fantastic. Now, there's always opportunity to pick up trash, so I'll be picking up trash a little bit. And also I want to show you about trees. So a lot of the things that have happened recently are the naming of a tree. So this is a tree that actually was tagged and probably planted by Vince Bellis, who was a retired botany professor. And he's also the one that marked all these trees. Shade garden with your family, you can see the names of the trees. You can see how established the canopy trees are. The canopy trees are the tall ones that are just leafing out. And then there's some understory trees here. Now, let's go up and I'll show you the monuments that to Vince and also to the locks. We'll go down and see where the locks are. So we're at the dedication of the shade garden, which you've been touring, to Vince and Ann Bellis, who were instrumental in getting this little arboretum to be here on the banks of the Tar River. And also Vince's current project is the Locks project. I want to show you all about that. This is Vince Bellis's current project, which is to bring back some replica of the locks that were over here. And this is the only place in Greenville where there is a historic district monument. It's not on a building. So in 1853, this is what happened. Over the span of about 3 years, this was built, but the dam was never built. So this story is here for you to see at any time. So that's an example of cut and toss, even though I didn't have to cut it. That's the way we tend a lot of the trails. So right over here by that sycamore tree is where the northernmost extent of the lock was. And again, I'm going to show you some images. But the lock was to make sure that the water level was sufficient for traffic to get from Little Washington all the way to Town Common, which at that point was a warehouse district. And the thing that's curious about it, not only that it has remnants and can be remembered, but that half of it was built and never functioned because the other half was not built. So these trees right here were planted by relief about 10 years ago, and you can see how much growth they put on. The older trees in the background were here when Wilson Acres was here and the apartments came all the way down. This is the off-leash dog park. Most people know where that is, and this soon will be a sculpture garden for the sculptures of Jonathan Bolin. And so I want you to see one of the sculptures that's here and some of the sculptures that are on Dickinson Avenue. So the photographs that I just showed you of the sculpture garden will have sculptures like this. This is a sculpture by Jonathan Bolin. And if you look over here, you'll see a whole sculpture garden that he's put up along Dickinson, but it's going to have to be moved because of the new construction where the old Imperial Tobacco Company buildings were. So some of these will be relocated over in the sculpture garden. So here we are with Don Quixote, Sancho, a burro, tilting it in windmills, which will be the topic for next week. And until then, Grandfather Science says, see you.